Hi friends, I'm Victoria. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today we have my August wrap up. I can't believe August is over. I was like, wait, what month is it? But I read 17 books in August and I had an amazing reading month. It was so good. I had so many 5 stars. I think I had five stars. I feel so #blessed. Truly, I had so many amazing reads and I just can't wait to chat about them with you all. And out of all the books, only a couple were flops. I really lucked out this month. I did a good job at picking these books for me. A little pat on my back for that. I'm wearing my Lydia Dietz pullover in case you were wondering like what the heck is on her shirt. It's Thursday the 5th and we're going to see Beetlejuice tonight. I'm like, I have such a hard time saying it twice. But yeah, we're gonna go see it tonight, so I'm all ready to go see that. But yeah, let's get into it. I read 17 books. I did DNF one book that's not included in the 17, and that is Cuckoo by Gretchen Felker Martin. Not because this book is bad or anything. I got about 35-ish% in, and I realized I'm not in the headspace to read this right now, and I just was not ready to really dive in and appreciate it for what it is. So I push it off. I'll read it another time. This one is about these kids whose parents put them in a conversion camp because they're queer, and it's them in the camp and then them coming back together years later to try to stop this camp because it's awful. Like I said, I got like 35-ish% in. I will say the first, I don't know if it's a chapter or prologue, I absolutely freaking loved. It was phenomenal. And it was like told from the POV of one of the kids' moms. And she knows that like what they sent their kid to is wrong. And it's really interesting hearing her viewpoint, and also just like what she goes through herself in this family. I'm sorry, you can hear my dog eating. He keeps like picking his food up out of the bowl and then bringing it over by me just to eat it. It's cute, but it's funny. That first part, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then we switched to like other POVs, so we're not really following her as much. And then once that happened and we're like focusing on the kids in the camp, I was just like, this is a lot's going on. I was not mentally available for it, let's say. I was having a hard time like connecting and giving my like full attention to these characters. So I decided to DNF it for now, and I will most likely come back to it at another time where I feel like I am in the best headspace to read something like that. Now I'm gonna go into the 17 books that I did read, and I'm gonna start from the worst and go up to the best. And my worst book of August, y'all might be shocked by this, is Incidents in the House by Josh Malerman. I think I'm the odd one out here with this one. I did not enjoy it. I gave it 2.5 stars. I expected a lot more, honestly. I mean, it was hyped up so much. It was just so hyped, and maybe that like skewed everything for me. I just expected a lot more. I didn't think it was scary. We're following the POV of a girl, so the writing is very short and simple, and that's fine. It's kind of hard to read at times though, because everything is like, oh, we went outside, this happened, and like all the sentences are like super short because it's coming from like the POV of an 8-year-old girl. She started seeing a ghost or a creature demon in her closet, and she calls it Other Mommy. And Other Mommy keeps asking her, like, will you let me into your heart? And our main girl is like, no, I'm scared. And things escalate with this demon ghost lady, and it starts to affect the whole family. Now I'm a haunting person. I love hauntings, I love possessions, I'm all for it. I'm big about it. This one just felt like I was reading something that I had already read and I had already seen. Like, it reminded me so much of Poltergeist, and I watched Poltergeist when I was in 5th grade, and that didn't scare me then. And this didn't scare me now. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm like desensitized to this kind of thing, but it just did not hit for me the way that it did for most people. I will say that there are a couple of scenes with Other Mommy that I thought were creepy, but at no point was I was like, oh, this is scary. Like, I was just like, oh, there's a few like spooky scenes. You know what I mean? My main issue with this is like nothing happens the majority of this book. We're pretty much just following the family going from one location to another, even though they're fully aware that Other Mommy can follow them everywhere. So it's a lot of just going back and forth, sitting, waiting. They're waiting for Other Mommy to pop up again. And it's a lot of just sitting, going to another house, sitting again, talking to someone, them getting pissed at you because they're scared of like ghosts, and then them drinking, sleeping. It's very slow burn. It's almost like watching, it's almost as if you're reading how it feels like watching Paranormal Activity, if that makes sense, because you know, Paranormal Activity, it's a lot of you're just like sitting and watching them, oh, they're in bed, nothing's happening, but then something does happen, but instead you're reading it. And for me, it did not work well. That kind of format did not work well in book form. I will say that I did like the end. I thought the way that ended was cool, and it was like kind of brisk and like rushed a little bit, but I kind of liked how that happened. And there's kind of like this overarching metaphor of like secrets and like how hurtful they are for people, which I appreciated. But yeah, overall, not a hit for me. It just did not work for me at all. We also have the parents talking to their child a lot, and there's this one part at the end that's like a twist that really was, I was like, this is not a twist at all. It was really annoying to me. But she goes into a huge like tangent about what had happened and it, like telling her daughter about this, who was 8. And I was just like, girl, you don't have to tell her every single detail of these things. Like, give her 2 sentences about this is something that you don't know. Here's your secret. And that's it. Like, I couldn't get past the fact that like you're telling all this stuff to an 8-year-old. Like, girl's been through enough, you know, she's being haunted by a demon. So let's chill out there. But anyway, before I continue rambling on a tangent about this book, I'm gonna cut it off. You might like it, it just wasn't for me. Yeah, maybe it was it for you. For me, it was a miss, and that's a bummer because I was really excited about it. But you know what, that's okay. I'm glad a lot of people are enjoying this. I do also kind of feel like it was written to be made into a movie, and that's a little bit annoying to me. But anyway, I digress. That was my one big flop of the month. Now, everything else from here is either good or amazing, so thumbs up for that. And on to the 3 stars. My first book is The Blonde Dice First by Joelle Wellington. This was fine. We are following these kids. They play with a Ouija board, and a demon comes to haunt them from this Ouija board. And it's basically like a demon slasher. Like, the demon is picking them off. What I liked about this was the scenes with the demon were pretty good and pretty spooky and like action-packed scenes. I also really loved our main character. She was really smart and fun. Also get some good diversity with the characters. We have a lot of queer characters and just diversity overall, so I enjoyed that. And there's also a bit of like commentary on race and class in here that I really liked. Let's go to what I didn't love. From the cover, the name, the synopsis, you would think campy slasher. It's not that. It's very serious. So I went in thinking, oh, this is gonna be a fun, silly time, and it's definitely very serious. So that was a strike for me already. And then we have so much backstory with these characters. Like, I mean, chapters of just talking about characters and like them chatting together, liking each other. Oh, like, are we gonna kiss? Like, that kind of thing. And it was so much of this book, and I just could not take it. I was like, please, can we move things along? Can we get some more slashing scenes? Because when you think slasher, you think, oh, chase, killings, people getting picked off, and not so much character development of every single character within this book. Did not like that. Also, our main character is a twin, and her twin sister is so unlikable. I could not care less about her. She was rude, mean, and just like a stuck-up know-it-all, and I struggled with her. And they definitely tried to make like a sisterly story come about, and I just could not care less in the end, because I was just like, I really do not like this girl, to the point where I was like, I hope she gets picked off next. I was like, come on. And honestly, if that would have happened, I probably would have loved this book, because I would have been like, shocker, the sister got picked off, amazing. But that would have never happened. But overall, it's fine. It's nothing great. I expected more. I do want to mention that a lot of these I have in reading vlogs. So if you would like a more in-depth following me being like, what the heck is going on with this book throughout reading it, check out my vlogs. So many of these are in vlogs. And I have so many that are favorites that I haven't put the vlogs out yet. So keep an eye out for those. The next 3-star is a Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. This has everything in it that I would love. It has a beautiful like greenhouse mansion atmosphere. It's a period piece. We have queer romance. We have a Frankenstein retelling. And really, that's like everything for me. I was like, oh, I was going into it like, oh my gosh, this book is exactly written for me. Again, this is a book that suffered with just like so much downtime with not a lot happening that I got bored in the middle there, you know? This one, we're following this couple. There are two guys, and one of them's really into botany and one's into taxidermy. And the one that's into botany gets this rare specimen of a fungus, and it's highly intelligent. That's what they keep saying. It's like so intelligent. And come to find out, they're like, what if we insert this specimen into a dead body and like make it come alive? And so it's a Frankenstein retelling, and they're thinking like maybe they could create their own daughter this way. And again, just fine. The story got boring. We had so much just not happening. Like really like the 30% to like 70 to 80%, like it was very minimal on the action, and the ending was super duper rushed and kind of like convenient and cheesy in a way that I was not excited about. It was just fine. I think if you are new to horror and maybe you want like an intro there, or something even kind of cozy, this might be a good option for you. I just feel like it had so much going for it, and that's what bummed me out so much about it, because it could have really been so amazing, and it just was not quite there for me. But it was fine. 3 stars. It's fine. It's Victoria from the future. I feel like I do this in every single wrap up where I forget a book. I'm gonna have to start physically writing down every single book after I finish it instead of relying on looking at Goodreads, because I miss them every time. So yes, I read 18, not 17 books. Book I forgot was I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. Also, I'm sorry, I'm in the car. I'm editing this video while we're driving to Texas. Drew's inside Taco Bell getting us some bean burritos. So I wanted to just film this and get it in here, but I gave this book 3 stars. We are hearing the story of this kid turn into a serial killer, and he like went on a killing spree when he was in high school, and we're following him as he's writing out what happened and leaving kind of like a memoir or a letter to his friend Amber about what transpired back then. And hi Jasper. My issue with this book was I was bored. I felt like not a ton was happening. We were getting so much just dialogue and character development. And maybe if I really like cared or felt connected with these characters, it would have been different for me, but I just did not. I wasn't particularly fond of our main character, the serial killer, and I did like his friend Amber, but the main issue, like I said, was I was just bored by it. I will say we have some fun kills in here. We have like a really great friendship and relationship between these characters that I really enjoyed, and I feel like Stephen Graham Jones always does a fantastic job writing friendships, and I did really enjoy that. I feel like this one also suffered from like marketing, from where this cover and the title sounds like a campy fun slasher, and it's not that at all. It's really just like a study on this person and this kid as he evolves into a serial killer and goes on a killing spree. And so I think I was expecting something different. We do get kind of like a supernatural element brought in that I enjoyed, so I didn't hate it at all. It wasn't what I expected, and I was a bit bored throughout. So not my biggest hit for Stephen Graham Jones, but that's okay, but it's still fine. I do know that there's been people that have loved this one, but I feel like the reviews are very mixed, so maybe still give it a try. It wasn't bad by any means, but it just like wasn't one of my favorite things that I've read. Okay, next we have My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if not. This one I read in my Brat Summer reading vlog, and I definitely had thoughts about it. It's super short. It's a quick, easy read, and I do recommend it if you're looking for something shorter. I think it's good. It wasn't my favorite thing ever. I was hoping it would be more thrillery, and it's really not. It's more of like a lit fiction kind of thing, and I went into it thinking it was going to be something different, so maybe that's why my review was a little bit lower. And we're following this woman who her boyfriends just keep showing up dead. Initially she thinks like these guys keep dying because of her sister, you know, doing it out of self-defense. As time goes on, she's like, I think there's something wrong with my sister, and I think she's a serial killer because this isn't all a coincidence. The issue is our main character has assisted in getting rid of these bodies. She's in a bit of a pickle because now her sister has caught feels for this guy that our main character works with and that she is actually like quite in love with secretly. And she's scared he's gonna show up dead next. And it's her grappling with the fact that she has assisted her sister with these murders and is an accomplice, but she also doesn't know what to do to like save the other people around her. And it's a very interesting story and premise. I do feel like the ending was rushed. I didn't feel particularly satisfied by it. Overall, I enjoyed it. It was good, but it just wasn't great for me, so. The next 3-star is All Night Pharmacy by Ruth Medivsky. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This was another one I read in my Brat Summer Reading blog. This is about a girl who she has grown up partying with her sister. Her sister is definitely like a party girl. And her sister kind of disappears. And we're following our main character as she grapples with life, making it through, and like her sister being gone. It's kind of like a contemporary lit fiction. We also have some like queer romances in here. It's a bit sapphic, which I enjoy. And really it's just like a story following this girl just making it through life. I liked it. It's kind of strange because our main character is struggling with some substance abuse, and a lot of it, you know, she was introduced to these things by her sister, and we're getting like these really interesting stories and like dynamics about this sisterly relationship that I really enjoyed. And then once her sister goes missing, it's like her grappling with that. I didn't feel like this was super unique at all, and it just felt like a standard kind of girl making it through life story. And I also feel like the ending happened so conveniently that I was kind of like I don't know about that. Okay, on to my 3.5-star reads. I need a little sip of tea. And the first 3.5-star that I have is The Unmothers by Leslie J. Anderson. Now this one is a horse girl story. It's marketed as a horror. It's not, and that was like my biggest issue with this book probably. Well, one of them. We have this town where there is this story about this horse that gave birth to a human baby. Most people just kind of like assume like this is a lie, like tabloid, like bullcrap kind of thing. But nevertheless, we have a reporter that has gone to this town that's known for like their horses and stage coaching. I don't know what the right word is, but is known for like their breeding of horses. And she goes there to write about this wild miracle story. And when she's there, the town is very unwelcoming. It seems a little bit strange. And then after just being there for like a couple of days, someone turns up dead. And then she's like, oh wait, there might be an actual story here. He learns that this town is kind of strange and very superstitious. And they kind of have this legend in the town with a creature in the woods and the creature and women in this town. So it's a lot's going on here. There's many threads we're following. And then we are also following a lot of characters. What I loved about this was that it has this really amazing feminist women's rights message, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And we're following a lot of characters, and a lot of them are men, and I just could not care about the men. I also just feel like with the underlying message of feminism, that following the POVs of men along with the women did a disservice to the book overall. Like I would have much preferred us to just follow the women. And a lot happens, and in the end I was like, I still have questions here. I don't feel like everything was really wrapped up, and I was a bit confused about some stuff. And the horror is not here. You would think like weird creature in the woods, superstitious town, like spooky stuff, there's a murder, you know, there's been a murder, that you would think that there would be some horror. There's not, and that was a huge bummer for me. And also, like, horror is the first genre on Goodreads for this book. So, you know, I have a real big issue with books where they are not like the synopsis, or they're totally marketed as like something that they're not. I get so frustrated about it. So that was a huge issue for me for this one. I still really like this book. I sat down and I read like the first half in one night, and I was like really sucked in and invested in the story and the characters, but all in mind I was thinking this is gonna get wild and crazy at the end. I was like, oh, we're gonna get some like weird folky horror kind of thing, and I just never got that. It's still fine, not as a horror, just as like kind of like a thriller suspense kind of thing. The next 3.5 star is The Night of Baba Yaga by Akira Otani. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is another super short one. I think you should pick it up. It's kind of fun and wild. It's really like fast-paced action-y. We're following this fighter, and she gets this job working for this really like powerful, like, I don't know what the right word is, like mobster kind of guy. And she is like taking care of his daughter, and like standing guard and like protecting her. It definitely feels a lot like a Kill Bill kind of story. There's a lot of action and fighting and like really gory scenes. We also have tons of triggers in here. Like, be aware, like all the triggers in here. It's intense. Like some of the stuff in here, I was like, oh Lord, you know? So just be aware of the triggers. But yeah, I had fun with this. It wasn't the best thing I ever read. My issue was that it felt kind of disjointed throughout the story. We have like random things that happen and come out where I was just like, I don't see this really going together, and I felt like I was kind of reading a different book at certain times. Just like the tone would shift a bit throughout, and I was kind of like, oh, that's strange. It's still a fun, quick read, kind of out there, so I do recommend it if you're looking for like a gruesome, like fighting kind of book. Now next is just a cute, cozy, wholesome book, and I gave it 3.5 stars, and that is Camp Creepy by Kirsten White. This is the third book in the Sinister Summer series. I did skip the second one, and I kind of wish I hadn't, because they do kind of all end up going together. But now I know. I thought they were standalone like mysteries. They're not. But that's okay. It does a good job of like kind of tying everything together from one book to the next. I will definitely be going back and reading the second one because it's also about vampires. So, you know, I got to read it. We were going camping and I wanted to read this while camping, and I still had a fun time with it. The thing I really missed was this camp. It's like the kids go to this camp, things are strange, everyone's so happy, everything's perfect. It's really like a wholesome tie-dye fun camp, but then they realize like, why is everyone like the happiest people on earth like, and acting a little culty? And it's just like a mystery about what's going on here. And that would be totally fine and dandy if like one of my favorite parts of the first book is the atmosphere and how everything is like goth. The kids are like solving a mystery at this water park, and the water park is like goth Tim Burton-esque water park, and just it was so fun to read, and I love the atmosphere and like the thought of that. And I really missed the like gothy Tim Burton feel in this one, but that's okay. I do think it'll come back in the next one, because the second book definitely seems goth too. It's like vampire stuff. So love that. It's just easy, quick, cozy. The stories are pretty fun, and I like the characters a lot. The series is like a spooky, cute book, and I'm into it. So yeah, if you're looking for like something cozy and easy, or if you have kids and you would like to read something with them, I think this is an awesome series. Okay, everyone, on to the 4 stars. My first 4 star that I have is Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning. This is a new release, and it is a camp horror slasher, and I had a lot of fun with this. We're following this girl who's a bit famous. She is the main character in a sitcom, and she ends up saying something online and gets canceled for it. And she's lost her job, kind of her fiance has left her, and she has decided to go to this camp and totally unplug. They take your phone, they take everything, and she's trying to just like revamp her life and unplug from all of the hate she's getting online. The camp seems great, seems super fancy and like a luxe kind of camp, a little swanky. And soon strange things start going down here, and we have people that start going missing. We have people that turn up dead. We have a strange story in the woods. We have like campfire story, legend come true perhaps. It's really fun. It's a slasher. We're getting good kills in here. I thought the kills were awesome in this one. Fast paced, lots going on, and the killings start really early on. Like, really gives you that like slasher action build up and chase that I love. This was one of the better slashers I've read in a long time. So I had a great time with it. I definitely recommend it. Really the only thing I had an issue with was kind of the ending and the twist. I just didn't feel like super surprised or shocked by anything, which is fine. I still had so much fun. I feel like it's really hard to write a successful slasher that keeps your attention the whole time and keeps you guessing and questioning, and this one did that for me, so I definitely recommend you pick it up. The next 4 star is That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. This is a YA horror thriller, though I will say horror light, definitely more on the thriller suspense realm. We're following this girl who police found her. She was covered in blood, and she like had been through something, and she doesn't remember anything. She doesn't remember who she is, and she has this man come pick her up from the police department with proof and said that he's her father. And we find out quickly that no, like something is strange with this man. And then we're following another POV of this teenage boy, and his girlfriend has just gone missing. And people are trying to track down where his girlfriend went. A lot of them think that she is dead, and a lot of people are blaming him for her disappearance. So we're getting these two POVs, which makes for a really interesting kind of reading time, because we're going back and forth and things just continue to unfold with each of them. And you're like, oh, are these involved together? Like, what's going on? And it feels very obvious that like these stories are involved in some way. With the boys' POV, we're getting this kind of like mystery of where is this girl and trying to track her down. And then from the girls' POV, we're getting like this really good like thriller kind of thing where we're like, oh my gosh, this is so suspenseful. Like, what's up with this man? How dangerous is he? And what's gonna happen to her? I really just loved how fast-paced it was. Things kept happening, and I feel like this is a good one to get you out of a slump. I will say the twist got me. It got me in this one, which doesn't happen very often. Really, the only couple of issues that I had with it was that we have kind of the YA trope where, you know, the adults do not believe the kids, and in this one that happens a lot, and it's quite frustrating. The ending was good, but there were a few things that I was kind of like, I don't know, kind of convenient when it comes to the end. I would definitely pick it up if you're looking for a quick, fast-paced, like thriller mystery kind of read. The next 4.5 star is Green Fuse Burning by Tiffany Morris. This one is an eco horror. Our main character, her dad has recently passed away and she's grieving. Our main character's girlfriend puts her into this competition for a grant without our main character knowing, and she actually wins the grant. She gets a lump sum of money from this grant to go and create an art collection. And our main character, she's grieving, she's having a hard time. She doesn't know if she can really do this, but she still goes, and she ends up going to this like secluded cabin. It's on a lake, it's kind of like swampy. And we get some really amazing atmosphere here with the lake and the plants and the creatures and, you know, fungus, moss, animals, like all the stuff, which I really enjoyed that aspect of it. We get this really strange story that like inches more and more into a bizarre, like trippy, supernatural kind of realm. I think it's a really cool story on grief and going through grief and then, you know, coming out on the other side. And I really love that about it. It's kind of like a weird girl lit horror kind of read. It's very short. I definitely recommend it. I really like how it was written because each chapter starts out with the name of a painting and, you know, if it's mixed media, oil on canvas, or like whatever it's made out of, and kind of written out like you would see at a art gallery. It like describes each painting at the beginning of a chapter, so you can kind of visualize the painting that she's painting in that chapter. And it's a really cool, just interesting way to like pull in art and how art can like really make you feel something and the meaning behind it. And I just thought that was so cool. So yeah, it's kind of weird and different. It might not be for everyone, but I really enjoyed it. The next 4.5 star is Bad Graces by Kiri McCauley. This is a YA horror and I loved this book. I was so shocked by this one. We have this girl that ends up faking her identity. She kind of takes the identity of her sister. Her sister had gotten this internship to work on this movie set in Alaska, and our main character was like, well, she doesn't know that she got this. And her sister grew up in foster care, and her sister is doing fine, but our main character is definitely struggled and is, you know, struggling with school and doesn't know where she's gonna go in life. So she sees this acceptance letter, takes it as an opportunity to just leave in the middle of the night, act like she's her sister, and go work and do this internship on this movie set. The film crew and everyone, they get on this yacht that's the director's yacht, and they're going to Alaska. They end up taking a little detour to see the whales, and they end up getting shipwrecked. Only a few of them survive, and we're following, I think, 6 girls as they survive on this island. Now, this island actually also has a weird creature monster on it. So it's kind of like a different take on a survival, like stranded island story, and I loved it. And when you think like a movie set and like actors and actresses and stuff. You would think like catty drama would happen, but really it doesn't. These girls are amazing. They're really smart and powerful, and I just loved reading about them and how they were trying to survive. And the tie-in of the monster I just loved. And this book ends up taking a really weird, trippy turn that I did not see coming, and it just totally like shocked me, because I feel like it totally just turned what I thought this book was going to be about on its head and like switched everything up. I loved how strange it got. I love the scenes. We have some intense body horror scenes here. Like, I'm shocked by how like spooky scary some of these body horror scenes were. We also have lots of sapphic romance in here, and yeah, I just couldn't get enough. I sat down and I read it in one night. I could not stop reading. I had to know what happened to these girls. Overall, fantastic time. Loved it. Highly recommend it. It's a really good, like, fast-paced one too, especially if you like things that get a little weird and bizarre. This one definitely does. And yeah, the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars was because I do feel like a few things in the end were a bit convenient. But overall, an amazing time, and I loved it. All right, y'all, we are on to my 5-star reads. I have 5 of them. 5 stars. What a time to be alive. It's great. It's great out here, y'all. I'm so happy because so much of this year has been flops and just like the biggest slump for a majority of this year, that like reading was a struggle for me, because I was like, I hate everything I'm reading. And I'm just so happy finally some good stuff has come along. I had so many hits this month. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk about them. The first one was a total surprise, and that is It Came from the Trees by Ali Russell. This one is a middle grade horror, like cryptid creature tale about Bigfoot, and I had so much fun with this. I actually read it while camping. It was like the perfect thing to read. We're following our main character who loves to camp. Her and her friend are big campers. They joined this Girl Scout troop one summer, and the troop ends up going on their summer camping trip. Our main character sees something strange in the woods, and she's like, what is that? Is it a bear? She's like, but it has hands. And this happens like right off the bat. I didn't think we were gonna see like the creature for a while. So right off the bat, she's seeing Bigfoot, and and then that night her friend gets taken out of the tent. Taken by Bigfoot. And, you know, no one's really believing our girl. They're like, there's no way, like, you know, a monster didn't take her. She probably ran away, because she had actually ran away before. So she feels like she has to go into the woods and try to find her friend or find any kind of evidence of what happened. And she ends up joining another scout troop that's camping like 5 miles away from that area where they camped before. And things start going down with this troop. They're being hunted down by Bigfoot, and it's so fun. Like, I was shocked at how fun this book was. Also, all of our girls are so freaking smart. They really like band together to like survive the night, and I love that. And they were just super clever. It was all about them coming up with these fun ideas to defeat this monster, and it's so fun. Such a good time. I definitely recommend it. It's super fast-paced, spooky, action-packed. I mean, it's fun to read a cryptid book every now and again, and I don't think I had read a book about Bigfoot before, and this was just so fun. Don't be scared at the fact that it's middle grade. Like, just give it a try. Just give it a try. That's what I love about like middle grade horror. It really goes into the cozy horror realm, and you can get that like spooky, creepy feels while also like feeling, oh, you know, nice and cozy. So I will say it can be hard to find ones that aren't like awful. Like, you know, a lot of them are made for kids and the writing isn't great. This one was written so well, and yeah, highly recommend. Next is Perfume and Pain by Anna Dorn. This was also in my Brat Summer vlog. I freaking love this book. This is following this author who has been kind of canceled. She said and did some things at Barnes & Noble during an interview, because she's an author. I think I said that, but, and she kind of got canceled. When that happened, she was really struggling with substance abuse. She would take a cocktail of different things. And we're following her like being healthy. She's being like California sober and is just, you know, making it through life. There's this like actress influencer who has shown interest in making her book into a film. And then we also have our main character who has this neighbor now, which has a little bit of like enemies to lovers kind of like sapphic romance thing going on. We have lots of drama for no reason, like nothing is high stakes. They're very privileged people and they all kind of suck a little bit, but it's just such a fun read, and there's so many like different like pop culture references that I enjoyed in here, and I just couldn't get enough of it. I ate it right up. I laughed multiple times. I was just like, I love this book so much. I just feel like it was perfect for like little internet Tumblr obsessed Victoria as an adult. If you were a Tumblr girly, I feel like you will love this book. A fun, general, contemporary fiction, queer. I mean, what more can you ask for? I just really loved it so much. So yeah, if you're looking for just like an easy, mindless read that's also freaking amazing, pick this up. I loved it so much. Next is Burier Gaze by Chuck Tingle. This is so good. I have a reading vlog with this one too. This shocked me. I loved it so much. I was a big fan of Camp Damascus. This one is even better than that. And we are following this Hollywood writer, and he has this TV series, and he gets called into the offices, his Hollywood offices, and they're like, you either have to kill off your main characters or you can't make them gay. And he's like, oh my gosh, no. This whole show has been leading up to them getting together, and our main character is also gay. He's gotten this news, but he's also like up for running for a Oscar for a short film, so he has that going on. But then his boyfriend and his other friend and co-worker starts seeing these interesting characters from his past horror movies that he's written. So we have like these strange occurrences where these people, like one of the movies that he had written before was called The Smoker. We have a guy that shows up and he asks you for a light, and if you don't have one, he'll hunt you down and kill you. Which I think is so camp and so funny. But he shows up one night and they're like, oh my gosh, like nice costume, whatever. But then more and more people and characters and creatures from his horror movies are showing up, and they're scared. Like things are going down, and it really turns into like a what is real, what is not. And people are getting like picked off and hunted down by these strange characters. We have such amazing queer representation here. The commentary is killer. We also just like have so much talk about like Hollywood and capitalism and how they'll latch on to anything that they think will make them money. And it's also interesting because we have the tie-in of like the strikes that were recent and like AI within the industry and like a techie kind of twist on it too. I just love this so much. The horror is there. We get all the characters I absolutely loved. I love the story. I love the twists and turns it took, and it was just camp and fun. And you know, I love a camp horror. It's one of my favorites because it's really kind of hard to write and write well. Like it's really hard to go into the territory of like, that's too much, or just like not hitting and not being camp at all. And I feel like it's a very, you know, tight line to follow, and this does it perfectly. And yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Please pick it up and give it a go if you haven't already. Next is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. Oh, I love this book. I loved it so much. I ate this up, for lack of a better term. I ate this up. It was so good. We're following this girl, and her mom has gotten in a not great relationship. Like she really hates this man. And we're watching her kind of spiral as she kind of gets these cravings for strange foods. And we're watching her as she kind of turns into a serial killer / cannibal kind of thing. It's so good. I can't believe how well written this was. I loved her character so much. It's so interesting because it's like, yeah, she's turning into like a serial killer, but still I'm like, yeah, girl, go get it. Go kill them. Go eat those eyes. You know, like I was all in it. I was like down for her. I was like, you do you. And I was just like full support. I was like, go get it, girl. Have that brat summer. We really truly get some gross body horror scenes that I was just like, oh, squirm. I was like, oh my gosh, it really got me. And the story is so well written, and the build up, and the whole time you're just like, oh my gosh, is this gonna happen next? Oh my gosh, where is this going? Oh my gosh, it's actually happening. So good. We also get like, you know, some sapphic romance in here, love. And there's also an inclusion of a character who is kind of like a good guy, that I loved his character so much. Like, well, I didn't love his character, but I loved how that was brought into this book. Because I feel like all of us women can relate to like the good guy who was like, oh, I'm so nice, but really they suck. You know what I mean? Why doesn't a girl want me? And they're just like an incel, you know what I mean? So we have a character like that that's brought in too. You know, by the end of it, you're like, some of these characters are so bad and so crappy that you're just like, yes, get your revenge, have your Brett Summer, go eat those eyeballs and have some fun, girly. So I loved it. Everything about this, I have no complaints. It's literally perfect and you should definitely pick it up. If you have like some weird stuff with eyes, maybe not. Maybe skip this one if you're weird about that. But otherwise, an amazing, amazing horror book with so much to say, and yeah, loved it. My final book and my final 5-star was Grey Dog by Elliot Gish. You've already heard me talk about this and gush about this. This was phenomenal. I am obsessed with this book. This is like a feminist, rage, witchy, go get it girl kind of book, and I loved it. I mentioned in another video that this is kind of like Slewfoot meets Cackle meets Night Bitch. It's phenomenal. I almost didn't pick this up because I didn't think I had time. I had like 3 days left at the library for it, and I'm so glad I did because it was perfect. So perfect. Like everything I could wish for and hope for. Ever since Slewfoot, I've been wanting to find a book that feels like that. It's like the dark, brooding kind of eerie atmosphere and witchy, of course. And this one goes there, and I was just so shocked, and like throughout the book I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. We're following our main character Ada and her diary, and she has started teaching at this new school in this really like religious village, and she had to leave her hometown because of a scandal. That's why she's in this new town now and teaching there. And as time goes on, things start to get weird, and we have these strange things happening with bugs and animals and just the atmosphere in this like isolated small village town. It's so good, and it really just like brings on this like really dreadful, eerie kind of feeling. And we're introduced to some characters early on where people are like joking that, you know, this lady's a witch, blah blah blah, and then, you know, as time goes on you're like, oh, maybe so. I won't go into too much about what it's about because the spiral and like how things progress is just so well written, and I was hooked from the start. Perfect like spooky season read. We do go from like the beginning of the school semester in August through April, but like a huge chunk of the book, I think like 40-ish% is like from August to like November or something. We do have like a chapter or an entry that's on Halloween, which is so fun. I feel like Slewfoot is light on the horror, where this one, it's really there, and I just loved every single thing about it. I can't stop thinking about it. I love the ending so much. Like I literally, after the last sentence, I set the book down and I literally said out loud, holy shit. I was like, this is insane. I loved it so much. I couldn't believe how perfect it was, and I loved the ending. I just, everything about it is so good. Please read it. Just please read it. It's fantastic. It's also queer, and you kind of get like this brooding, dark, historical, like period piece, like almost gothic or like folky atmosphere. Like it's definitely like a folky horror kind of feel. It's absolutely beautiful and fantastic, and you should please read it. Well, that's all of my books for the month of August. Thank you so much for watching, and if you read any of these, let me know. I'm really interested to see what everyone thought about incidents around the house, particularly because I know for me, I think I'm the odd one out here, but I would love to chat. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I'm so excited about having such a great reading month, and September I think is even going to be better because I have already had a 5-star in September, and it's like September 5th, so things are just going so well for me right now. I'm living my spooky season horror reading dream. And like I said, a lot of these books are featured in vlogs. If they're not up already, some more of them will be up soon. So keep an eye out for that, where I delve into those and just like bob around town and do my own thing, you know? But yeah, if you're into bookish content, please subscribe. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That helps me a lot. And I will see you next time. And I hope you have the best spooky rest of your day.